Walk through almost any major city in the world, and you'll probably see a Starbucks. Turn the corner, there's another one. Walk into an airport, a shopping mall, a hospital, or even a university campus, and chances are you'll find that familiar green logo waiting for you. At first, it doesn't make much sense. Coffee isn't rare. In fact, it's one of the most common drinks on Earth. So how did one company manage to put itself almost everywhere? And more importantly, why would Starbucks open stores just a few steps away from another Starbucks? It sounds like a terrible business decision, yet it has helped build one of the most recognizable brands in history. Most people believe Starbucks became successful because it sells better coffee. That's a simple explanation, but it isn't the real one. Millions of customers don't wake up thinking they need Starbucks specifically. They simply want coffee. So if dozens of cafes can make coffee, why do so many people end up walking through the same green doors every single day? The answer has very little to do with what's inside the cup. It's about something much more powerful, something that quietly influences your decisions before you even realize you've made them. The story begins in Seattle in 1971. Back then, Starbucks wasn't the global giant we know today. It didn't serve lattes, cappuccinos, or iced caramel drinks. It wasn't even focused on selling prepared coffee. The company sold high-quality coffee beans and equipment to people who wanted to brew coffee at home. It was a small business with a loyal customer base, but nothing suggested it would someday become a company with thousands of stores around the world. Everything changed when one man saw an opportunity that everyone else had missed. During a trip to Italy, he noticed something fascinating. Coffee shops there weren't just places to grab a quick drink. They were part of everyday life. People stopped by before work, met friends in the afternoon, held casual business conversations, or simply enjoyed a quiet moment before continuing their day. The cafe wasn't just selling coffee, it was selling an experience. That single observation would completely change Starbucks forever. When he returned to America, he believed coffee could become much more than a beverage. He imagined creating a place where people actually wanted to spend time, a place that felt comfortable enough to sit, talk, work, or simply relax. It wasn't home, and it wasn't the office. It was something in between. That idea became the foundation of Starbucks, and from that moment on, the company stopped competing with coffee shops. Instead, it began creating a daily habit. And once a business becomes part of someone's routine, it stops depending only on the quality of its product. That's when the real story begins. That daily habit didn't happen by accident. Starbucks understood something most businesses overlooked. People don't always choose the best product. They choose the easiest option. Instead of waiting for customers to search for Starbucks, Starbucks decided it would always be waiting for them. That's why you'll often find a Starbucks on busy street corners, inside airports, shopping malls, office buildings, train stations, universities, and even hospitals. The strategy wasn't simply to open more stores. The goal was to remove every excuse a customer might have for buying coffee somewhere else. If Starbucks was always within sight, choosing it became almost effortless. This approach surprised many people. In some cities, two Starbucks stores sit just a short walk apart. At first glance, it looks like they're competing against each other. But Starbucks wasn't worried about that. The company believed that convenience could be more valuable than distance. One customer might want to grab coffee before entering a shopping mall, while another wants one after leaving. Office workers need speed during the morning rush, while students stay for hours with a laptop in the afternoon. Even if two stores serve different moments of the day, both can succeed because they're solving different customer needs. Starbucks wasn't trying to maximize each store's sales. It was trying to maximize the number of moments people chose Starbucks. But location alone wasn't enough. Once customers walked inside, the company wanted them to feel something familiar. Whether you were in New York, London, Tokyo, or Dubai, the experience was intentionally consistent. The smell of freshly brewed coffee, the warm lighting, the comfortable chairs, the music playing quietly in the background, and And even the way your name was called out were all designed to make every visit feel reassuringly familiar. That consistency built trust, and trust slowly turned into loyalty. People weren't just buying coffee anymore. They were buying predictability in a world that constantly changes. Then came another advantage that made the business even stronger. Starbucks embraced technology in a way that made buying coffee faster and easier. Mobile ordering, digital payments, rewards points, and personalized offers transformed occasional customers into regular visitors. Every purchase made the next one feel a little easier. Every reward encouraged another visit. Over time, Starbucks wasn't simply serving coffee. It was becoming part of millions of people's daily routine. And once a company earns a permanent place in someone's routine, competitors face a challenge that has very little to do with coffee itself. The real battle is no longer about taste. It's about habit.
By this point, Starbucks wasn't just selling coffee anymore. It had built something far more valuable, a habit. That's why the company doesn't have to convince millions of people to buy coffee every morning. For many customers, the decision has already been made before they even leave home. They know what they'll order, where they'll stop, and what kind of experience they'll get. That's the power of becoming part of someone's daily routine. And once a brand reaches that point, price becomes less important than convenience, familiarity, and trust. Of course, Starbucks isn't perfect. The company faces competition from local cafes, changing consumer tastes, and economic slowdowns. But while many businesses fight by lowering prices, Starbucks protects something much harder to build: its brand. People don't just recognize the green logo, they associate it with a consistent experience. That reputation has taken decades to create, and it's one of the biggest reasons the company continues expanding into new cities and new countries. The product may be coffee, but the business is built on much deeper foundations. So why is Starbucks everywhere? Because it never wanted to be just another coffee shop. It wanted to be the first place people think of when they need a break, a meeting, a workspace, or simply a familiar stop during a busy day. Every new location increases the chances of becoming part of another person's routine. Every familiar experience strengthens the brand, and every returning customer makes the next customer easier to win. The biggest lesson isn't really about coffee. It's about understanding human behavior. The world's most successful companies don't always win because they make the best product. They win because they become the easiest choice. Starbucks mastered that idea decades ago, and today its stores are scattered across the world not by accident, but by design. The next time you walk past that green logo, remember, you're not just looking at a coffee shop. You're looking at one of the most carefully engineered habit-building businesses ever created. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Finance with Zai. Every week, we uncover the hidden strategies behind the world's biggest brands, one business secret at a time.